The biggest party of the summer rolls into its second evening. Tom Campbell from Cultaholic Wrestling here, and this is what happened at WWE SummerSlam Night 2. The notoriously shy Paul Triple H Levesque opened the show welcoming us to the biggest SummerSlam ever, and then quoted 70s band Bachman Turner Overdrive saying, "You ain't seen nothing yet." Then SummerSlam got underway proper, opening with the triple threat for the Women's World Championship. Iyo Sky and Rhea Ripley challenging Naomi, who was played to the ring by her dad, guitarist Sean McRae. Naomi got a handicap pacing from the challengers to get things started. That was until Ripley inadvertently mule-kicked Sky, leading to Naomi rallying with a crossbody. Naomi was on a tear from here, blocking a suplex to the outside by biting Ripley's hand, forcing Ripley to DDT Iyo Sky with a springboard kick and landing a blockbuster onto Rhea for a near fall. Ripley and Iyo recouped and took the fight back to the champ, throwing her outside and making it one-on-one between the challengers. Ripley grabbed a near fall off an electric chair drop, and Iyo got one after countering a riptide with a small package. A second electric chair was reversed with a poison rana by Sky, but Naomi would stop the 3 count. Awesome power from Ripley saw Sky hit with a razor's edge and immediately followed up with a powerbomb before Ripley and Naomi took the fight outside. Enter the genius of the Sky from above with an Acai moonsault to take control. The bullet train pulled in on Naomi and Ripley, but Sky's attempt at over the moonsault was thwarted by Rhea. Naomi stopped an avalanche riptide and landed a split-legged moonsault, but deliberately broke up her own pinfall so Ripley could also absorb an over the moonsault from Sky. A huge knee stopped Sky's momentum, but left her open for a riptide from the Eradicator, with the Iyo Sky breakup barely saving the match. The champ would feel the glow of a Rhea Ripley cannonball to the face outside the ring soon after. Sky followed that up with a sunset flip powerbomb on Ripley onto Naomi mere moments later. The end of the match came with both the challengers battling on the second rope, the most dangerous rope, leading to an avalanche riptide. Naomi saw her moment to schoolgirl Ripley and, with a handful of Ripley's tights, got the 3 count to retain the WWE Women's World Championship. The 6-pack TLC ladder match for the WWE Tag Team Championships is next. We take a moment beforehand to recognize the TLC match legends at ringside. The Dudley Boys and the Hardy Boys are in the front row to watch the carnage. The Street Profits, DIY, the Motor City Machine Guns, Fraxiom, Andrade and Rey Fénix, and the reigning champs, the Wyatt 6. All head to the ring, and the Wyatt 6 gets stomped into the dirt by all the challenging teams from the bell before turning their rage on each other. Fraxiom hits multiple dives onto anybody and everybody before bringing the first ladder into the ring. The Wyatts return to the action to take out Fraxiom before they get wiped out themselves by the Street Profits. They go to backdrop Joe Gacy onto a ladder, but they miss. They try again. They get it right this time. The Profits start stacking up Chekhov's tables, but come a cropper with stereo 3 amigos from Andrade and Fénix. Double Eddie Guerrero frog splashes are thwarted by DIY, who go to launch Montez Ford through a table, but Ford is able to pivot midair and land a huge dive onto Fraxiom and Lumis outside the ring. From here, the tables start getting broken. Gargano landing one final beat onto Gacy through the wood. Dexter Lumis hitting a diving leg drop to the outside onto Montez Ford through a table. Fénix hitting a frog splash onto Frazier, and Axiom hitting a Spanish fly to the outside onto Dawkins through the wood. Good Lord. Amid the carnage, Candice LeRae runs out to attempt to grab the titles, but she's thwarted by B-Fab, and when she attempts to ascend, Abby the Witch appears to take her down. LeRae's second attempt to grab the titles, with her husband Johnny Gargano propping up the ladder, is almost successful. But Ciampa gets knocked into Gargano, who was steadying the ladder, and Candice takes an almighty spill through a ladder outside the ring. Eric Rowan rocks up to then obliterate the Street Profits, but he ultimately gets clattered with chairs by Ford and Dawkins and shoulder blocked through a table. Ciampa goes for gold, but has the ladder pulled away from him. Fraser attempts to spear Ciampa out of midair, a bit like Edge did back in 2001 in that TLC match. But Ciampa's seen this movie before. He pulls himself up and dodges the spear in incredible core strength showcasing fashion. It comes down to the remaining upright bodies fighting across two ladders. Enter Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy, to send everybody packing and put DIY through Chekhov's tables. Fraser makes a dash for the titles, but Bo Dallas puts him in a mandible claw that sends him down. Andrade takes Howdy out with a sunset flip off one ladder and through another, and it looks like Fénix is going to win it for his team. But here's Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy once again. Lumis, armed with a chair, shuts down Fénix. He eats a double team by the champs, and Joe Gacy climbs the ladder to grab the gold. The Wyatt Six retain the tag team titles in an all-out car crash of a match. When the dust settles, it's time for the no count out, no disqualifications match for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. It's challenger Lyra Valkyria versus champion Becky Lynch, who debuts her new theme song by band The Wonder Years. Lyra starts hot on Becky Lynch, but a missed baseball slide gives Becky an opening. She brings out a kendo stick, but Lyra brings out a crowbar, which snaps the kendo stick in half. The two brawl around the ringside area, Valkyria getting the advantage and setting up a Slim Jim table for future shenanigans. Becky reappears and chokes Lyra with a chain around the turnbuckle and hurls her into the steel steps. The man then cuts the wings of Bird Lady with a kendo stick, busting out not only a tribute to the Sandman with a White Russian leg sweep, but a Happy Gilmore nod with some kendo stick drives as well. Lynch introduces WWE's now iconic red toolbox of doom, along with a pair of steel chairs here. It's all Lynch with a drop toe hold into the chair and a strike with the toolbox for two. Becky then takes a zip tie from the toolbox and ties Lyra Valkyria's hands together before battering her with a wrench. Valkyria keeps Valkyriing out though, despite absorbing an entire series of home improvements tools and a series of Bexploder suplexes. Lynch takes it to another level as she wears on Lynch with kendo sticks whilst Lyra is zip-tied and hanging from the turnbuckle outside the ring. Lyra counters a manhandle slam and drops Becky, leveling her with a drop kick off a pair of steel chairs and a moonsault, all whilst her hands are cable tied together. Lyra removes a turnbuckle pad with designs on maybe using the ring to cut through the zip tie, but Lynch recovers in time to stop the Great Escape. We see Lyra fall to the ringside area, and Lynch rolls out to go for more plunder under the ring, only to be caught off guard by Lyra with a fire extinguisher. She then tries to use the handle of the extinguisher to break the cable tie, but then I think she seemingly remembers that she's left some scissors under the ring. And soon afterwards, her hands are free, and she stops another Lynch kendo stick assault. Lyra is on the offense from here, baseball sliding a steel chair into Lynch's face before cracking out a Nightwing off the steel steps to the floor. Becky manages to buy herself some time to recover and uses that time to get her bearings and send Lyra into the exposed turnbuckle from earlier and follow up with a manhandle slam through two chairs, but it only gets a two. An irate Becky Lynch bounces Lyra's face off a steel chair at ringside before putting her sternum through a chair and driving it into the announce table and into the steel post. Lynch stomps on the back of the chair itself, knocking Lyra Valkyria out cold. It looks like she's going to hit Lyra with a crowbar, but Bayley appears to stop her. Becky tries to convince Bayley that she should be the one that hits Lyra Valkyria with the crowbar instead. Bayley refuses and beats the living bejeebus out of Becky Lynch. That is until Lynch avoids a running attack from Bayley and uses the table from earlier to get back to her feet. only to be put right through it with a leg drop from Lyra Valkyria. Lyra looks like she has this in the bag, but a tussle in the ring sees Bayley get onto the apron and accidentally crack Valkyria with a chain. Lynch hits a manhandle slam moments later and gets the 3 count to retain the women's Intercontinental title. As a result of the pre-match stipulation, Lyra Valkyria can no longer challenge for the women's IC title, whilst Becky Lynch is the champ. We move with all gas and no brakes to the WWE United States title steel cage match between champion Solo Sikoa and challenger Jacob Fatu. Jacob takes an early lead over his former leader with headbutts in the corner, but Solo backdrops Jacob into the cage to stop the rot, following up with several body splashes into the cage as well. Solo is the first to attempt to leave the cage through the door twice, but both times Jacob keeps grabbing the boot of Solo to stop him. Solo goes for the Samoan spike, but Jacob dodges and mounts a comeback. Solo tries to stop him by throwing Fatu into the steel cage, but it has zero effect. Fatu drops Solo with an Impaler DDT and a pair of moonsaults for a near fall. From here, MFT rock up, but Jimmy Uso appears as backup. Big Jim gives it socks, but gets overwhelmed and hurled over the announce table by Tola Tonga. Meanwhile, in the ring, Jacob Fatu demands the door be locked, but he walks into a Samoan spike by Solo Sikoa. Fatu kicks out at 2 though, and Solo decides to take the cage escape victory instead. Fatu is in hot pursuit. He brings Solo back down, but Tola Tonga and Tangaloa climb the cage on the other side, and Tola Tonga handcuffs Jacob to the top of the cage as JC Mateo removes the lock from the door. Fatu was able to break the handcuffs in time to stop Solo from slithering out of the cage. Tola Tonga, however, appears and boots the door into Fatu's face, and Solo falls through the cage door to retain the US Championship. Post-match, Jimmy Uso returns. He super kicks JC Mateo and throws him into the ring, shutting the cage door, essentially feeding him to Jacob Fatu. Jacob lays out Mateo and Tangaloa in the ring and climbs all the way to the top of the cage and hits a whopping moonsault onto both men. No US title, but a measure of revenge for Jacob Fatu. The WWE Intercontinental Championship on the line next, with Dirty Dominik Mysterio defending against AJ Styles. Styles has mind games before the bell, driving out in a lowrider with his son whilst wearing ring attire inspired by Eddie Guerrero. Specifically, Eddie Guerrero's ring gear from SummerSlam 2005, where he competed in a custody of Dominik ladder match. AJ gets the early advantage, dumping Dom outside, but Dom dodges a dive and hits a big one of his own to take control. Dom goes for a Frankensteiner, but Styles retaliates with a tornado DDT. Dom ducks a phenomenal forearm, lands a Michinoku driver, but only gets a 2. Three Amigos gets countered 2/3 through with an AJ brainbuster, and an Eddie-esque frog splash from Styles gets reversed. Dom dials up a 619. Styles counters a splash into a calf crusher, and Dom was able to escape. And from here, the Eddie homages continue, with Dom bringing in a steel chair behind the referee's back and faking a chair shot from AJ. AJ, realizing what's going on, wrapped the chair around his own head and lay down as if Dom had hit him. The ref allowed the match to continue, and AJ once again managed to get the calf crusher locked in. Whilst in the hold, Dom's boot comes loose, a la Eddie Guerrero at WrestleMania 20. He releases the hold, and behind the referee's back, Dom cracks AJ with the loose boot. One frog splash later, and Dirty Dom defends in a match that was packed with Eddie Guerrero tributes. The post-match replay shows the moment that Dom loosened his boots, which was moments before AJ went for that final calf crusher. Dom lies, Dom cheats, Dom steals, Dom retains. With that, we come to your main event. It's Cody Rhodes versus John Cena in a street fight for the WWE Championship. Cody's entrance features quotes from his father, Dusty Rhodes, before Kingdom kicks in, whereas we've got the full John Cena entrance experience with bright lights and the full-on run to the ring. Cody Rhodes was met with predominantly boos, as the crowd were ready to cheer like crazy for John Cena during the in-ring announcements. Cena, post-announcements, instigates a hug, after which they both start laying strikes into one another. The fight spills outside the ring immediately, where Cody and Cena would hurl each other into respective steel steps. Cena borrowed a crutch from Tyrese Halliburton at ringside and uses it as a weapon against Cody before bringing the base of the steel steps into the ring. Cena went for the attitude adjustment onto the base of the steps, but Cody counters, hits a body slam onto it instead. Cena sent Cody into the outside before hurling the steel steps at him for good measure. After an in-ring exchange, both men would arm themselves with steel chairs and swing, with Cody disarming Cena and cracking him once more with feeling for a near fall. Cody wedges a steel chair into the corner, but gets hoisted by his own weapon, with Cena driving him into it before landing the shoulder tackles and the 5-knuckle shuffle. Cody escapes an FU and rallies with a striking combo and a Cody cutter for a 2. Cena shocks Cody with an FU, but Cody kicks out and drops Cena with a moonsault for another near fall. Disaster kick gets a 2. A top rope Cody cutter gets a 2. And as Cody plots his next move, he is left wide open for an electric chair drop for a near fall. Cody then lands the controversial pile driver, but it's only a 2 once again. Cena seems to go limp at this point, but it seems like it was a bit of possum play. He drills Rhodes with an FU to leave both men down and out. The two go back and forth with strikes. Cody hits a pop-up powerbomb. Cena kicks out and rolls into an STFU onto the challenger. Cody manages to make it onto the ropes, but there's no rope breaks in a street fight, so Cody has to pull Cena's throat across the bottom rope in order to break the hold. Out of the ring they go again, where Cody sends Cena over the barricade. Cena strikes Cody with a microphone and hits a code bloody red onto the floor, which even shocked Cena himself. Ruthless aggression from John Cena. He drives Cody Rhodes through the Spanish announce table with an AA. Cena gets Cody back into the ring, where Cody Rhodes kicks out at 2. A rallying Cody hits a crossroads, but once again only garners 2. Cody, seeking something big, takes Cena up for a superplex. However, Cena fights off and hits a top rope rocker dropper, immediately followed by an AA that still only gets a 2 count. John Cena introduces a Slender James table and goes to AA the challenger through it, but Cody's able to flip it over and hit a DDT. Here, Rhodes decides to set up the table in the corner, where he avoids being put through it and ultimately throws Cena out of the ring, where the fight goes through the crowd. Cena uses a barricade as a weapon. However, Cody gets the upper hand when he suplexes Cena onto the same barricade moments later. They walk and brawl under the stage. And when we next see them, it is rising up through the Codyvator, where Cena has Cody Rhodes on his shoulders with a smile across the champ's face. Cena lands an almighty FU onto the stage and puts Cena back on his shoulders, carrying him towards the ring like a decorative scarf. As Cena gets into the ring, Cody immediately rallies and hurls Cena through the table from earlier, busts out another crossroads, but once again it's just a 2 count. Cena drops the rope and Cody falls from the ring, where he bashes Cena with a steel chair and then loosens the bottom rope. Rhodes cracks Cena across the head with the exposed turnbuckle pole. Cena is fighting to get back to his feet, and Cody, who seems conflicted, puts him down again with the same weapon. A third strike gets countered by Cena, who uses the bottom rope for an assisted STFU, but somehow Cody turns it into a bottom rope assisted choke of his own. Cena goes for another FU. Cody counters and hits a trifecta of crossroads, akin to his big WrestleMania win last year. but Cena kicks out at 2. Cody, in utter disbelief, rolls out of the ring and grabs the WWE title, the weapon that he couldn't bring himself to use at this year's WrestleMania. This time he swings, but Cena lands 2 AAs to counter it. He picks up the title and throws it down, saying, I'm not going to use that to win this match. He takes Cody Rhodes up top, hits an avalanche attitude adjustment, but Cody kicks out at 2. At this point, absolutely everything has been done, and both men are spent. Cena rolls out of the ring and introduces yet another table. Cena sets Cody up for an avalanche AA through it, but Cody counters at the last minute, and Cody cutters Cena through the table from the top. Cody gives a final salute to John Cena and hits one final crossroads to get the 3 count and become the new undisputed WWE champion. Post-match, John Cena picks up the WWE title and hands it to Cody Rhodes, the two exchanging words and embracing. Cody tells Cena, thank you for everything. An emotional Cody Rhodes stands tall as WWE champion before leaving the ring and giving John Cena the center stage. The crowd chant, thank you, Cena. And the sign-off for the greatest of all time is interrupted by the returning Brock Lesnar. Lesnar, who has been away from WWE and removed from all WWE media after being named in the Janelle Grant abuse and trafficking lawsuit against Vince McMahon and WWE, storms to the ring and stares John Cena down from ringside. Eventually, Lesnar leaps into the ring and Cena gets taken down with an F5. And SummerSlam goes off the air with the shocking return of Brock Lesnar. That is what happened at WWE SummerSlam Night 2. Let us know what you thought in the comments below. I'm Tom Campbell from Cultaholic Wrestling. Stay safe and love you, bye.